Well, it's a good time to be alive. It's a very bad time to be a Norwich City fan. Welcome back to the TNC Podcast, everyone. Jack Reeve, Chris Reeve, to guide you through proceedings this evening. We will be discussing Norwich City's latest defeat in the Championship, this time to the former City of Culture, Hull Tigers. And we will be looking ahead to two midweek Carrow Road fixtures in the league, which I can't remember ever happening before. But there we go. Very much looking forward to it. As always, this is live and interactive, so make sure you comment in the comment section on the YouTube video. Chris, good to see you.
I thought you were about to quote AJ Tracy then and go live and direct.
No, one of my favourite music artists, but or should I say AJ Tracy quoting us by going live and direct? Yeah, I don't mind a bit of AJ Tracy.
Yeah, good. That doesn't surprise me. I'm well, thank you, Jack. My life is 10 out of 10 now, except from, actually, no, it's probably 9.9. And that 1% is Norwich City Football Club because they're not winning bloody football matches. And I know that we'll get on to Hull. We'll dissect Hull in more detail. There's so much to talk about in the Norwich City sphere at the moment. But I would suggest, Jack, that we start off on a brighter note and speak about that Birmingham Cup win. I know it was on pens, but before we do that, as always, a massive thank you to our sponsors, of course, Laken's, proud partners, Nor Chocolate. And by the way, if you check out in the ticker below, you can now get 15% off all of your Nor chocolate. It's a great Prezi and gift.
What's your go-to flavour, Chris?
You can get them in these Nor letterbox boxes. I know this one's a bit blue and white. They've yet to get the yellow and green one in, but don't worry, we'll sort that. And tonight, do you know what I've selected, Jack? I've selected the Be Happy flavour. Okay,
oh, that's good. Yeah, nice.
Chocolate and honeycomb with crunchy caramel, because I feel like I need to get some happiness after that Hull defeat. As always,
I think the bumblebee is one of my favourite animals, I must say. Very giving characters, aren't they, the bumblebee?
That's very questionable from you. I was about to say also, let's address the great viewers of Talk Norwich City. Thank you for joining us wherever you're watching all over the world. Get involved in the conversation. We're at Talk Norwich City on social media. Please feel free to chuck us your tweets, quote retweet our live tweet, and I will retweet as many of them as possible as we go as a thanks for your support.
Jack, absolutely.
Birmingham Cup, you want to do it?
Birmingham. Well, we tried our hardest to throw it away, didn't we? I mean, it ended up being quite, I suspect if you were at Carrow Road, quite an enjoyable evening in the end. Always nice to win on a penalty shootout. I thought there were spells of goodness. Nice. It was a wonderful goal from Jakob Sorensen, who I'm sure we'll be talking about later on. I've already seen a lot of comments regarding him, and nice to see Daniel Sinani on the score sheet as well. I thought Hugill led the line quite nicely, but still just defensive errors creeping in time and time again, and that's the concern. Am I happy we progressed through to the next round of the Cup? Not really.
Hey, there it is.
Well, look. If we would have played a weaker squad in that, we might not have a left back crisis on our hands. And now we've got another game against Bournemouth, Premier League Bournemouth, in the next round. That who knows? We might see another big injury in. So not the happiest about it, to be honest. But nice to see Josh Sargent score a penalty. Actually, that made me smile.
Yes.
And Marcelino Nunez is quickly turning into Messi, so that's also good to see.
Yeah. I'm so relieved that Josh Sargent scored that penalty. I really hope that it will give him some confidence. It was so close for the goalkeeper to save it, but it went in the back of the net, and that's all that matters right now, because quite frankly, that's not what we are doing. So that is a positive. As you say, mate, Marcelino Nunez, I mean,
bit special.
The man can do no wrong at the moment. An absolute postage stamp finish at Holloway. I know it counted for nothing. I tweeted it the other day, and someone, forgive me, I can't remember, someone replied with, yeah, it's all very well and good, Chris, but quite frankly, I couldn't give a shit right now because we lost. But you've got to take what you can get right now.
Yeah.
Right? You've got to. But no, look, I do believe that win over Birmingham would have helped marginally, but then into Haaland, it all falls apart again. I said at the start of the season in that Norwich City media preview, Jack, I think the quality is there, but I'm questioning the mentality. And at the moment, I can't see this group proving that comment wrong. Whenever we go a goal behind, we don't have the answer.
Yeah, yes, that's the concern. Yeah,
and I'm sure we'll go into that whole XG thing. Yes, we're the highest one in the league, and we're having a 20-minute spell where we're dominating possession, but we do fuck all with it.
I know that you're not a massive fan of XG, and I saw the table on one of the apps I use that we'd be top of the championship, and I thought, you know what? I fancy a few nibbles here. I'm going to throw this out there, and you can't. Facts don't care about feelings. XG, we look good. Let's go to the comments then. A big thanks to Rage Mafia for the super chat. He says, "No fit left back, no fit defensive midfielder, bottom of the league, but at least we've got a soccer bot and a mountaineering sporting director." Well, slightly tongue-in-cheek comment from Rage Mafia there, but there's something in it. We certainly don't have a fit left back. A big thanks to Jameson for his super chat. As well, Lauren, we know Lauren is a lady of class, and you can see here, evening lads, watching on the way back from a fun day at Pleasure Beach in Great Yarmouth with the family. Well, you've certainly had a better day than both of us, Lauren. Well done for venturing into the wonderful Great Yarmouth and seeing all the sights. I hope you were on the snails earlier as well.
Lauren, shocking from you. Lauren, that's absolutely shocking from you. You've gone down in my estimations.
Craig says, "I'm surprised Chris knows who AJ Tracy is." Are you not up with the grime scene?
Well, no, I'm not. To be honest with you, Craigo is very much Mr. Grime, but I have a little dabble every now and then when I need to pump some iron in the gym. But
you went to see Coldplay the other night, didn't you? That looked spectacular.
Yeah, it was absolutely class, by the way. Would highly recommend to anyone. But anyway, we're not here to talk about bloody Coldplay.
I was just going to say, do you think when we've had new floodlights installed at Carrow Road, do you think that will be similar to what you saw at Wembley for Coldplay, or would they be better? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm very excited. Do you know what? I'm actually excited for tomorrow night to see the light display.
Yes. Will we see it tomorrow, will we?
Oh, God, well, I sincerely hope so. The amount of money that we've plowed into it. I mean, they've got to do what they can do to get the fans behind the boys, because let's be honest, the belief and optimism and hope is dwindling, to use a word. So, maybe the light display, whack on Eminem,
you're getting all of your rap knowledge out this evening.
Kanye West, whatever it takes. I mean, you know me, mate. I'm all over the Zombie Nation pre-match, and I think that will get Carrow rocking. I really, really do.
Well, we hope so. Big Curry on tour says, "Don't really see us improving. Dino to be gone next month."
Name of the show so far, Big Curry on tour. Thanks so much for the super chat, buddy. Really appreciate that.
Chris, let's talk Dean Smith.
Yeah, let's.
It's the elephant in the room. It's the winless manager in the room. That I think we actually might have different opinions here, and I'm surprised in the way I'm going about the Dean Smith argument. I really am, because usually I'm first to move on a manager. Just give me where you're at with Mr. Smith at the moment.
I've not moved too far from where I was last week, the last time we did our live pod, to be honest with you, Jack. Yes, it's extremely disappointing. I do think the excuses are drying up. He played Nunes, who did his job against Hull City, but the rest of the team didn't. And actually, you might not expect this from me, Jack, but actually having looked at this whole XG thing and actually, thought about it, it does tell me that it's going to come good. At least I'm putting those positive words into the room anyway. I do believe it will come good because of the amount of pressure, at least, that we're putting on the opposition. And there'll be people listening to this now going, "Oh, Chris, but it means fuck all. It's a load of rubbish and blah, blah, blah." I empathise with that point, but the stats do tell me that it is going to come right. The opposition experts, the former pros, the current pros, they all know that this Norwich City team can and will do it. It's just a case of when, and we need to hurry up. And so where I stand on Dean Smith is that I think we need to see 10 games for sure, 100%. I'm very aware of the fact that I remember 18-19 being, I think I probably jumped the gun, to say the least, on Daniel Farke. And I was like, for fuck's sake, guys, we just went and got absolutely tonked at Millwall. We were an absolute embarrassment. Do you remember? We were absolutely on our knees. And then it all changed from there. So look, I think that we all need to be a little bit more patient. People will hate to say that. People will say it's uninspiring, it's this and that. And yes, it is. But I think that when that first win comes, it will change. I really, really do believe that. I think that we've got the ability in our team to go on an unbeaten run. I do believe that. But it's a case of when, because this is so, and I'm not overacting on this, I don't think, but let me know in the comments. We must pick up at least 4 points this week, at least.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
We must pick up 4 points, because what I've been surprised, I actually think I'm in the minority here, Jack. I'm looking at social media after that whole result, and I'm thinking, bloody hell, it looks to me like at least maybe 40 to 50% of Norwich fans are now like, right, I'm done. I've made my mind up, which has surprised me, just how quick they've gone. But at the same time, I do actually kind of get it, because of the fact that we've only felt the low of the yo-yo, which we mentioned before. We've not won a league game since January. It's shit. It's really, really shit. There's no hiding from it. But we must win this week, and I believe we must pick up 4 points. I'm going to be asking some serious questions if we don't achieve that by the end of the week, because 2 home games, this team, the left back thing it's not good news, but even still, this team has absolutely got enough to get 2 results at home against those 2 sides. So that's where I am. Where are you, Jack?
No, I agree. I certainly agree with the point on this week. It does feel huge, and it's a good opportunity for Norwich City to try and right some wrongs. I'm surprised actually with Chris Dayton, who's got in touch. Thanks for the super chat, Chris. He's one of the more level-headed fans we speak to. Evening, lads. I said it when he came in. He's the least inspiring manager as a person I've seen since Hudson or Riot. Sorry, but the time's up for me. And I think Chris holds an opinion held by many there. I'm in the let's give him a bit more time camp. I'm also incredibly aware that if, let's say we lose to Huddersfield, or let's say we pick up a point against Huddersfield, a Huddersfield side who have only won once this season. They beat Stoke at the weekend, but they gave up 20 shots on goal. It's going to turn toxic. And I'm also incredibly aware that once a manager loses the fans, I think it's incredibly difficult to win them back over, regardless of how many wins you put together. I think it would take a serious turnaround now for Dean Smith to win over those that he's lost. It was the same with Daniel Farke. We saw how that ended. I've just seen enough goodness in the performances so far to think that he warrants more of an opportunity. I'm also incredibly aware that the performances have come against teams in this division that aren't the best. We're still yet to play Watford, Burnley, Sheffield United, teams that are certainly going to put up more of a fight than Wigan and Cardiff and Hull, who, yes, beat us, but do lack quality, and that's being respectful, I think. So Norwich are in a really difficult position. I think the mood could turn quickly the other way. You win 2 games this week, you put in a few good performances, you put a few goals past Huddersfield, you scrap a win against Millwall, suddenly you've got 7 points on the board and everything looks a lot more rosy. So this does feel like a big week for Dean Smith. Also, let's take a look at some of the players here who have been shameful, some of them. I'm looking firmly in the eyes of Milo Rashica, who has been poor this season. Very few have put in performances that have warranted praise. Marcelino Nunez has been good. Max Aarons was good against Wigan, but very few have kind of really taken things by the scruff of the neck. And I think we need that. It was incredibly disappointing opening game to see our captain and Grant Hanley get sent off. Ben Gibson was then poor against Wigan. So I think you're right, Chris. I think it's also very much a confidence thing. You go behind, you don't know where your goal's coming from. You score a goal, you don't know how you then go on to close things out. So fine margins. What we've seen so far hasn't been good enough. I'm of the belief that things will turn, but they have to turn tomorrow night against Huddersfield. If they don't, then I do fear for Dean Smith's job.
Yeah, I echo the majority of that. It feels so fragile. The thing that I would put into the room, Jack, is it's a hell of a lot more grey than what I think the majority of, at least what I'm seeing on social media, are making out. It's simply not as black, in my opinion. It's simply not as black and white as, well, let's just sack Dean Smith and then all of a sudden things will change. That is not going to be the case with this group of players. Yeah. Daniel Farke's Deadwood. We've not been able to get rid of it still. We've still got, we've had to get rid of Zolis on loan. We've spent 9 million plus on him. We've got Josh Sargent, who's, quite frankly, his confidence is absolutely on the floor, who's still not performed. We've got Mila Rashica, who's offered next to absolutely nothing, which is shocking. So I actually still think that a lot of this anger seems misplaced to me. I think that I actually still think that the recruitment is not being good enough. We should have gutted this team and we didn't. And so I don't think it would have mattered, Jack, who would have been in charge this season. I think it would have been a rebuild job anyway, because when you get that badly embarrassed in the Premier League, people are calling for Knutson, for example. He would have been in the same position. He would have been, because it would have taken him a transition season. I don't buy the
do you think the fact that the team wasn't gutted out was because a lot of these players are almost unsellable at the prices we want?
Yeah, I do, but I do think it might be. Look, maybe I'm talking out of turn because maybe we just literally didn't get any offers. But I do struggle to believe that. I think that there was a few that we should have just cut our losses on, Jack. I know it's not commercially great, but you've seen and do you know? It's very easy to latch onto Nunes and be like, he's the star of the show. This isn't that. Well, actually, do you know what? Let's do that. He's a breath of bloody fresh air. Yeah. And people, and I've seen some stuff online of, just because he pants the badge, he's this and that. No, do you know what? Fucking good. Good. That's the respect that every Norwich City player should be giving this football club. Okay. And he's delivering. He's talking the talk. Well, actually, by the way, he's not, because he's still learning to speak English, which makes his start even more impressive. But look how much he wants it. Yeah. Look at what he's delivering. And these young lads as well, they want it. Adam Eder to come back, write him off all you want. That man will come in and deliver again. Johnny Rowe, let's have a go. Yeah. Mate, I genuinely think that I think that there are players there that want it, and I do believe that we can get
and that's probably one of the reasons that Dean Smith's taken a bit of flack as well. The fact that he didn't start Liam Gibbs in the league, the fact that he didn't bring on Daniel Sinani when he just scored in the league in the League Cup, and then done well at Huddersfield last season. It's.
But by the way, let's get the Sinani box and let's put it on the table. Shall we? Let's
lovely box.
Okay.
Brilliant box.
That is where I would criticise Dean Smith. I'm not so sure on the team selection so far. I have to say, obviously, he knows far better than me, and he's a coach, and I'm a poor and wondrous reject, right? So I don't have a clue what I'm talking about. But there's a couple where I'm thinking, why have you gone with that? For example, the omission of Jordan Hugill. Wasn't so sure about that, and I do feel that after his pre-season, I would have really, I would have expected him to have featured more. For example, just sticking with Josh Sargent, and there's a few that question me, but the one that I am questioning, which is beautifully put, I believe, by It's Me, James E, is that I think that Sinani should be playing more football for us right now. I think he looks like a really, really smooth operator in the middle of the park. And again, it's about that freshness, Jack. It's about a player that's wanting to prove a point. Yeah, I've seen people put this online about, never sign a player that thinks that they're doing us a favour, right? You sign a player that wants to, prove. And I do think this is a good group, right? But they've just been battered in the Premier League, and
I think even if you do want it and you are trying, I think unconsciously, say if you're Max Aarons or Todd Cantwell or someone like that, who I'm certainly not inferring haven't tried this season, because I think they've been two of our better players. But you've been up and down with Norwich multiple times now. You feel like you've got to a position, both with Todd and Max, where they've had big offers from big clubs, or at least interest from big clubs, that haven't materialised for whatever reason. And then you're back in the Championship on a Tuesday night playing Huddersfield. Again, respect to Huddersfield. But Max Aarons 18 months ago was dreaming of playing at the Nou Camp and playing at home for Bayern Munich. Like, it must be unconsciously really difficult to get yourself back up for that, just to be in the same position that you were in 3 years ago. This is why I'm calling for Angus Gunn to start, because I'm looking at things here and looking at Angus, and I'm going, why on earth would he want to sit on the bench for Norwich when he was doing that for a champion? He was playing first team Championship football years ago. He's regressed in that sense, sitting on the bench for Norwich City through no real fault of his own. So it's things like that kind of concern me. And I think the other interesting thing is with this squad is, although we now don't have a recognised left back fit, the squad is still really deep when you look at things compared to other Championship sides. And Michael Bailey, I think, said it on one of the videos I watched, or in one of his articles on The Athletic, that Dean Smith's got a real job on his hands to keep players happy here and to rotate, because there's a lot of players that won't be featuring. And as you say, Chris, it's a very big squad full of players that have either underachieved or had disappointment at Norwich City. And when you've got that, it's a difficult thing to change the mindset amongst the camp, I imagine. It's a really difficult one. I think there's a lot of people at fault. I think Stuart Webber will not be glad that we're losing football matches, but blame has certainly been deflected from Stuart Webber in recent weeks. It's now all on Dean Smith, and I think that's unfair. Dean Smith has certainly made mistakes. I'm not getting away from that. I agree. I think some of the team selections have been poor. I think some of the in-game management's been poor this season. We had chances against Cardiff when they went down to 10 men to get back into the game. Against Hull, we battered them for 20 minutes, didn't take our chance. Even at 2-0 down, though, we saw it with QPR. They came back from 2-0 down. We saw it with Millwall, who came back from 2-0 down to win at the weekend. It is possible. And even when Marcelino Nunez scored that wonderful free kick, I still wasn't confident that we were going to go on and get a goal. There was still 25 minutes, half an hour of that game left. We should be getting a point from that, and we didn't. And that's a concern.
Yeah, I have to agree, mate. I am just a bit like maybe my mood's the same as others, and let us know on Twitter if you feel this way too. I am struggling to. I hope I'm saying it. I'm putting it into the world that I do think that it will come good, but I don't know when. And it has to come good this week, because if not, I do think the tide will turn on the management, which for me is just horrendous, because it's still so early on into the season. But that's the reality of where Norwich City are at.
Let's look worst case then, because best case scenario is we win both games at Carrow Road this week, put in some really nice performances, and then you've got something to build on. We know what happens if we win both games. We'll be on 7 points, mid-table. We're looking up rather than down. Yeah. Let's just say we draw tomorrow against Huddersfield and we lose against Millwall on Friday night. What happens then? Because surely the board then have decisions to make over the future of Dean Smith, or do you think he'll be given more time even if we were to let's say lose both games this week?
Well, first of all, I don't believe that the board will make that decision. I don't. I think that it'll be Stuart Webber, which is why it won't happen fast. But I don't even want to talk about it, because I want to give Smith the time and respect and patience that he deserves, because
this planning needs to be made, right? Like, what happens if things go really?
Well, I don't think it is made, Jack, because we saw it under. There was this whole, there's a succession plan. We've got to replace. There's not. There's not. It's bullshit. There's not. But look, I don't think we should be putting that into the room, talking about replacements and this and that. Yeah, I really, really don't. I think these are two big games at Carrow Road. Yeah. And as Norwich City fans, let's put our head on the pillow at night let's get to Sunday night. Yeah. Having known that we've given our all at Carrow Road. Yeah. Let's make the place a fucking cauldron of noise, and let's give these boys the belief that they can do it. Okay. I don't care. And I said this last week. I don't care how we do it. All this conversation about style of play and, Dean Smith with his hands in pockets. I don't care. I don't care whether Kenny McLean kicks it and it's a deflection off the defender's backside and it goes in the back of the net for a 1-0 win in the 90th minute. I don't care. Let's just win a football match. But let's do our job as fans. We can't throw in the towel just yet, I don't think. I think we need to give them these 2 games and let's really, really back the boys to do a job. I do think it's too early to be talking about.
That was a politician's answer, Chris. I want to know if we lose both games this week, which is very much possible on recent form.
Questions will be asked, and rightly so at that point.
But questions are being asked now.
But I don't. Yeah, but by fans, but not by anyone inside the club, right? I think questions will be asked if it gets to that point. But it's a big if. Surely, Jack. I know what we've seen has not been good, but surely we'll be coming off the back of at least one win by the surely.
One can hope. Nathan Barker says, "Are we being too harsh on Dean Smith? Look at Farke's first full season in charge. Hardly screamed quality, but we gave him time and let him put his stamp on team, and it turned out well." You know what I think it is, Nathan, is I think Dean Smith's come in and he's got an incredibly difficult job because he's inherited a side that on paper wasn't good enough for the Premier League. It was we all know that the recruitment was poor. Yeah. Emi Buendia had left. Oliver Skip had left. So you're already starting from behind. And I think the really difficult thing for Norwich City fans, and I sympathise with those that want Smith out because I get it, right? I do get it because Norwich City fans didn't see the promotion campaign in person. We were watching on iFollow streams that didn't work, which was a bit naff. The season we did get to go back, we got pumped every week. And now we've gone back into the Championship and haven't won a football match. So I think it's really difficult. I think some are being slightly harsh on Dean Smith. I think he's right to be criticised. I think everyone's right to be criticised when things aren't going well. And we've also got a big enough sample size to work from now. Yeah. I know Chris isn't overly, keen on at the moment talking about style of play. I think that's really important. I think we need to see an identity for long-term consistency. I get at the moment, if we win 1-0 via a Josh Sargent knee, I don't care. I agree. Yeah. But for consistent success, you do need some form of style.
I know, but I'm talking about the
Yeah, I know you are. But what I'm saying is, since Smith has arrived to now, we haven't really seen that. And I think that's a worry.
I agree. What I would say as well is I really like. I'm so sorry. I've forgotten the name of that super chat. Thank you so much, brother. I'm so grateful for that super chat.
Nathan Barker.
Cheers, Nathan.
There you go. I'll put it back on screen.
I think I'm really, really pleased that he's brought up Daniel Farke because I do believe there's a lot of recency bias coming into this. Okay, I've seen criticism recently of Dean Smith and not being very animated on the touchline. People forget that Daniel Farke was slumped in his chair for the majority of his Norwich City career, and yet we're lumping Dino with that. Like, that's just bullshit. That's completely unfair on Dean Smith. 100%. I believe that Dean Smith is much more of a motivator than Daniel Farke. I really, really do. And it's a great point. We are at the same point now as we were under Daniel Farke in that iconic 18-19 season. Okay, so we should just give it I hold my hands up. Come at me, guys. Okay. Next time we do a podcast, slam me for this. Okay. Right. But I think
they will.
I think we should give Dean Smith and I don't want to put because it's being humorized, right? Smith and Shaky, but let's give them these 2 games at least. Okay. Come on. That's fair, isn't it? Surely that's fair before we throw our toys out the pram, given our start to the season and the injuries and all of that. But then it needs to work.
Chris Dayton isn't excited to go to Carrow Road. The last time he felt this way was under Chris Hughton. Now it has changed in 9 months. Same mistakes and missed opportunities.
A really good point. And you brought this up earlier. Chrissy Dayton, thanks for the super chat, mate. Jack, you brought this up, right? Smith's in an incredibly tough place, right? Because it reminds me of when we had all that success under Paul Lambert, right? And then we got Chrissy Hughton. And the sensible thing to do when you have a gaffer that's all guns blazing, all out attack, you score one, we'll score two more, is a Mr. Sensible, someone to shore it up. And I know that that's not, it's not this idyllic, Norwich aloneness football that everyone wants, okay? But we've been lucky with what we've had, considering the budget that we had. Like we've had some incredibly good times, and this was always going to be a tough season, right? To be able to bounce back at the third time of asking is a huge statement to make and to achieve. So look, let's just give it these 2 games is my message. I hope that's not annoying people too much, but I just think at the moment it seems a little bit too harsh.
Alan Montgomery, very kind super chat, my friend. Thanks so much. He says on match day 11, we've got West Brom at home. That's on September the 17th, the game before an international break. Give Smith a points target to hit by then, e.g. 19 points from 11 games. If he makes it, set another target for before the World Cup. If he doesn't, he goes. Alan,
Weather, isn't he?
A very good point, and I suspect that is very much the way the board are thinking. I suspect they'll be looking. I think Smith will have. I think Smith's got until October.
Seriously, Jack? Do you honestly think the board are thinking that?
Well, there will obviously be targets in place. Yeah.
The board are not thinking that. Look, I respect Alan's comment massively, but the board aren't thinking of targets and then they're going to get rid of Smith. They're all in on Dean Smith and Stuart Webber. The board are not thinking anything apart from the fact that they're going to turn up to have their lovely champagne dinner on their match day. They're not. They're there. Like, they're not going to be thinking about getting rid of Dean Smith yet. They're just not.
I think there will be targets in place to try and hit. I really do.
You've got more faith than me after the shambles that we've been served up in recent seasons, my friend.
No, that's fair. It's a fair point. I think we both agree that I think fans think that Smith's job is on the line more so than the board do. I think he's got time.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going anywhere soon. And the name I keep hearing, Chris, every time I tweet, this name comes back to me. Sean Dyche. People want Sean Dyche, which surprises me. I can't see that being a viable option.
Mate, I know our Lakens offer has been absolutely out of this world, but I think we might have to stop putting that discount on Lakens because that to me, to want Smith out and Dyche in, to me is that like I almost understand why you would want potentially a more attacking minded manager, but to replace those two is, I mean, don't get me wrong. Do you know? I actually love a bit of Dyche. I have to admit, he gets me going. If he's my gaffer and he's standing up for my club and he's panting his fist against his heart up to the bar. Yeah, I'll have a bit of that in my slice of toast in the morning. But that's a nonsense right now. That is a nonsense.
Absolutely.
We need experience. Like we need experience. But I can't. What I can no longer do is have blind faith in Smith. Okay, so since the start of the season, I've gone, fresh start, let's go for it. I'm all in on it, right? But now I'm at this point where I actually can't defend it. It has been shit. There have been some lineups, some selections that I think haven't been ideal, and it's not worked, and we've lost games of football. So I actually can no longer defend it. But I do think that we should give it more time. I think there's a middle ground. As I said already, I don't think it's as black and white as, let's just get rid of Smith. Well, what? And get who? Get who at the start of the season? Like who are we honestly meant to get? Right? We're on a huge.
If this is a genuine question, because I don't know the answer to it, if you are wanting to see the back of Dean Smith, and I completely sympathise with that opinion, let us know in the comments who is out there that we could genuinely get that isn't Sean Dyche, because we know about him. What's the mood going into these two games for you, Chris? Like, love saying sample size. I do actually. Where are you at? Are you confident or are you nervous?
No, I'm nervous.
Also, let's not suggest Wayne Rooney. That's not happening. That is not happening. Him and Frank Lampard on the banned list. We are not having Wayne Rooney at the football club.
Mate, he did a great job with Derby considering.
No, he didn't.
Considering Sir, mate,
no, he didn't.
That's shocking from you. He did a good job.
Took them down.
He did a good job with Derby considering circumstances.
You'll be telling me that Frank Lampard did a good job in a moment. Took them from 6th to 6th.
Look,
honestly.
I have to admit, I'm nervous. I'm nervous.
Are you?
But one thing I am going to do is I'm gonna pick up that bag of nerves, and I'm gonna put it in my voice, and I'm gonna turn up to Carrow Road tomorrow night, and I'm gonna give it some. On Wednesday, I'm not gonna be able to actually talk, okay? because we need to get behind the boys for these two games. They're absolutely massive games, Jack. Massive games, okay? So I'm nervous, yes. I'm worried, yes. Is it blind faith? Yeah. Can I defend it? No. But this is all we've got now, okay? We need to just try our best to do what we can as supporters to get behind this group, because Smith's not going to it's not going to change for a while. We need to get behind these boys to give them some confidence. I think that Birmingham game, look, I know we gave away 2 sloppy goals, but I think that the fans were decent. I felt that those 2 goals that we did score, it lifted the crowd. We were in a good place, and I think
this is the thing. You're never too far from the mood changing. All it takes is a couple of wins, and equally, all it takes is a couple of defeats to things to really turn. Joe, hello, Joe. I hope you're doing well, mate. I agree. I think that the fans were in good spirit on Tuesday night against Birmingham. I think this is the thing, right? This is where my hope is coming from, because I'm actually still rather optimistic about this season. I actually don't think the performances have been that bad. Against Hull, one of the goals, maybe not both, but certainly one of the goals was down to us. The goal against Cardiff was down to us, and the goal against Wigan was down to us. You cut those mistakes out, and we've given up hardly any chances. On the flip side, we've had 20+ shots in most games. You would be banking on Timu Pukki, who there needs to be a conversation about, and we'll have that this evening. You would expect one of our forward players to score one of those opportunities, and we haven't been good enough in front of goal. So I think if we're looking at the data and we're looking at the consistency of performances this season, wins around the corner, and I think that happens this week. And if it doesn't happen this week, then we can pick up the conversation again. But I'm in a fairly good place. Ryan Thompson says he wants Bielsa in.
Do you know? I
think Bielsa's going to Norwich.
Maybe I'm not drinking enough Lakens, but I actually can't believe just how many people have thrown the towel in. It has surprised me.
I don't know if it. I don't think it has surprised me, because I think. You've gone from Daniel Farke to Dean Smith, and whether you love Daniel Farke or whether you didn't love Daniel Farke, there was a charisma about him, and there was a play, and that you connect good things with Daniel Farke, right? We can't get away from that.
In the championship,
sadly, yes, in the championship, I know. Under Dean Smith, there's been little good things to happen. We were relegated. We won a few games in the Premier League, but fans don't have that connection with him yet. I think that's a big thing. If Dean Smith were to, be managing this season off, and he'd won the championship with Norwich City before, things look, slightly different. But look, it's a really challenging one. It really. What I would say, I was speaking to a Watford fan the other day, right? And they're top. I think they've got 7 points from 9 games or something. And Watford are concerned because their performances haven't been good enough. And these are the fine margins this early on. I think our performances have been fairly good, and we've not won a game. Watford, they don't think their performances have been great, and they've picked up 7 points from 9. Over the course of a 48-game season, you would rather be the side that puts together consistent performance levels, because history says that wins will come from that point. And also, if I'm throwing in the unlucky card, to lose 3 left backs in 3 games is pretty unlucky.
Yeah, but that's the first time this season that we've had bad luck, Jack, and losing. I think it was Darren that said this in Darren's debrief exclusive content on Talk Norwich City this season. He said that if you were to have an injury crisis anywhere, if it happens in at your left or right back positions, it's all right. It's all right. So. I think that situation is manageable. I really, really do. Yes, it's unlucky. At the end of the day, do you know what? Put your hands in your pockets. Go out to the transfer market. I know it's not as easy as that, right? But let's go out and bring someone in. Yeah. And I tweeted this last night. You know, is there an option to bring back Ballymumba? Perhaps. You know, I know people are like
not until January.
Yeah, I know. Well, okay. Well, but I just think that. It's fragile. I can't talk us out of it. I think that the players need to give us fans something to believe in. I think Dean Smith needs to give us Norwich fans something to believe in. So I'm certainly not coming in here being, you know, pro club or happy clapper or either a negative Nancy. I hope, because I do think they need to give us something to latch onto. I really, really, really do. Look, on the upside, Colchester United beat Ipswich Town in the cup. The mighty Colchester, always been the second biggest club in East Anglia. So look, you know, there are some good things happening in the world of football right now.
Absolutely. Although to bring things right back down straight away, Ipswich are just 1 EFL place away from us. They're top of League One at the moment. Chris, let's talk about a left back, Jamal Lewis. Howard Smith wants Jamal Lewis back, of course, not playing at the moment, left out of favour at his current club. Option for a loan deal for Jamal, would you take him?
Well, look, I've heard and seen this on social media a lot in the last few days, actually. Obviously out of favour at Newcastle. I think it's probably fair to say Newcastle fans aren't completely gutted that is the case. I think that we got good money for Jamal. Jamal Lewis is up there with one of the nicest, most humble Norwich City players I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. He's such a nice guy, right? And I know people will be like, yeah, but Chris, we don't want nice guys. And I get that. I do get that argument. But I also think that it's important to have a no dicks policy. And I think that, unfortunately, when we've gone up to the Premier League, we have recruited players that have thought that they're bigger and better than us. Josip Dermich. So, but I don't believe that Jamal will come back under the current regime, given how the exit happened. So, I think I can understand why fans want it. I can understand how it makes sense, but I don't think it will happen under this regime. I'll be surprised. Would I be happy if we were sitting here next week and Jamal Lewis came back through the door? Yeah, I'd be happy personally. I know a lot of Norwich fans would be. I think he'd do a tidy little job for us. He'd link up well with Max and Todd. Of course, they had a band back in the days. Todd Cantwell revealed on a podcast, but I'm not sure whether it's necessarily the right thing to go back there. As much as I really love Jamal for who he is, I'm not really sure whether that would be the right thing to do for our club, if that makes sense, to go back there, to be honest.
Yeah, no, fair enough. 2 small little notes that we saw on Twitter through the week, and I know Chris was raving about former Norwich City player Pierre Lemalou scoring an absolute screamer for his new club, and loanee, still Norwich City player Christos Jolis scoring an absolute screamer for his club. And also, let's throw in Ballymumba, who I think has won 2 man of the matches and scored a couple of goals for Plymouth. It doesn't rain, it pours. Chris, like, it's just typical.
I know, and these things get blown out of proportion when things are going shit, right? And I have seen a few people going, well, that's what happens when you unbound them from Dean Smith and you let them do what they do. Like, I don't really buy that. I think that they're playing some really monumentally average opposition. like, don't forget that Norwich City beat Marseille 3-0. And I know it was a pre-season friendly, but they did play a lot of their starting 11 in that game. And but it was a great hit from PLN. And look, you all laughed at me. You're not laughing now, are you?
Well, yeah, we are. You said he was going to be player of the season, and he was rubbish.
Mate, the PLN pile driver. It was always a thing. He just never unleashed the beast.
He did score one pile driver. Was it Burnley last season?
Well, when you say pile driver, I think it was more of
scored.
It was more of a P roller, wasn't it? No,
right. I think we're gonna call things a day here. I think, and we're gonna go into the next two games, Chris, confident.
Okay.
We need confidence.
Okay.
We need to win football matches. We're going to be doing another one of these podcasts very soon, and I really hope that we return and things have changed. Because you know what I'm really bored of now, Chris? I'm really bored of talking about Norwich City losing football matches.
It's so shit.
There's only so many times you can sit down and record a video and speak about the same things. I just want a 4-0 win against Huddersfield. Yeah. Give me some goals. Give me a pint of warm lager in the Barclay, and I'll be happy.
Do you remember that feeling, Jack, of just feeling carried away, you know, getting on the sailors' hats and, you know.
Well, can you remember the last time we played Huddersfield?
God, it feels so hard work at the moment supporting these boys. Oh, yeah. Well, how was I? You've actually reminded. Do you know what? I'll do after this? I'll get that clip out on Talk Norwich City. Do you remember last time we played?
So good.
And we literally were crying with laughter because we were
just so good.
They were so shit and we were so good. Like, that was such a good win. But look, that was back when we had Todd Cantwell full of confidence and consistency. That was when we had Emi Buendia. We had Timo Pukki tearing it up. So look, I'm certainly not expecting a performance like that again. But by the way, wouldn't it be funny if we did?
It's what we need. It's exactly what we need.
And I do genuinely think that that a team sooner or later in the next 3 to 4 games is going to be on the end of an absolute hiding. I hope
so.
And I think back to someone.
And I think there is evidence to back that claim up, because if you could quite easily have a game where you have 20 shots, which we've done in the last 2 games, and score 6 goals. Like, it could feasibly happen. So I really do believe, and this is my message, and you can disagree with me, and I'd understand if you did. I genuinely believe that on what we've seen so far this season, things can turn around. Now, they need to turn around quickly, I understand, but I think they will turn around. If we could throw in a stinker against Huddersfield and it could all go wrong. That could also happen. But if we do what we did against Hull and Wigan and don't make defensive errors, we will win football matches.
At least we've got 3 amazing kits.
They are banging, to be fair. Yeah, they are good.
Guys, if you've enjoyed this episode of the TNC podcast, do get involved in social media at Talk Norwich City. Get involved in the conversation. I'll share all of them as a thanks for your support. Hopefully, Jack, next time that we come on here, we'll be talking about an absolute thrashing. And I also need to say, before you close off, Jack, don't forget, as per the ticker below, you can get 15% off this absolutely incredible Knorr chocolate. This one is probably ideal now, considering circumstances. Be happy, the old honeycomb flavour. Get that in your gut, folks.
It is genuinely very good chocolate. It is superb.
People might have noticed it, but I've just pretty much smashed half a bar.
Feeling good?
I'm feeling really, really good right now. I'm feeling really good. So I'd highly recommend it. 15% off. Go to the checkout and type in TNC15.
Absolutely. Genuinely great gift as well. And also Lakens. You know what Lakens is about. I've just polished off a bottle of that. I'm feeling wonderful. Link to that is in the description. Right. We will see you at Canaries tomorrow night for the big one, and then on Friday as well. Thanks very much for watching. Stay safe, everyone. And